got smoked by Cal State Long Beach.
Smoked by the beach, baby. Let's go. And, he came to one of my basketball practices and was like, hey, do you want to play volleyball? And I said, no way. When you don't know volleyball, all you think of is PE volleyball. And, you know, I play football, basketball. I was like, I like physical sports. And then, so I told him no. And he ended up coming a few practices later and said, hey, let me take you to a game. And random story, my mom actually knew Phil from back in the day in grass tournaments. And so it wasn't just there was that connection there and kind of immediately.
Grass tournaments?
So they have, you know, just like beach tournaments, but they have real fun, like grass tournaments.
Oh, yeah, you go to the park, there's a picnic, and
you
throw up the net. And you're
but they do like legit tournaments. So it's like there's like a Tracy Murphy grass tournament in Fountain Valley that's hundreds of people. And it's like
Mile Square Park?
Yes, Mile Park, exactly.
I played some baseball tourneys there growing up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, he said, hey, let me take you to a game and see if I can change your mind. And he actually took me to a Long Beach State versus UCLA match. And I was like, wow, this is volleyball. These guys are, 6'6", 6'9", crushing balls, 80 miles an hour. And it was unlike anything I've ever seen. So I said, all right, I'll give it a shot.
Was Knight the coach back then?
He was.
Yes, he must have been pretty fresh.
Yep.
Because that was like around, 2003?
No, this was 99.
99?
99 was my freshman year.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, so I saw that. I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. And first year, I was absolutely horrible. And then by my second year, I actually made the junior national team.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a tryout. There were 3 tryouts across the United States, and one was in the Pyramid. And I was just having fun. I just wanted to go and see what it was about. I didn't expect to do anything. I wasn't good.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I ended up getting a letter about a month and a half after that I was selected as one of the top.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Footy Fridays. Another beautiful, well, not even beautiful. It's pretty ugly out in Long Beach, if you ask me. But it's still a beautiful day to talk some footy here at the 22 West Sports Block. My name is Zach. I'm here with JD, Desi, and Diego. Welcome to Footy Fridays, your home of the beautiful game. Let's start with JD. How was your week?
My week was pretty good.
Yeah?
It was eventful.
Very eventful.
Very eventful. Very busy. And I'm happy that I'm done with every single class now. It's officially spring break.
There you go.
So it's a great feeling.
That's got to be a good feeling.
What a time to be alive.
What a time.
Yeah. And you've been busy over at Rabbit Hole Football. You've been doing some new weekly episodes.
Yeah, started a little podcast of my own, trying to produce and put out a little more newsy-focused podcast compared to this fun, conversational, lighthearted one. So having some fun, but it's taken me a lot of work. I was up late last night recording and producing. I was up till like 3 o'clock. So
yeah, I saw that.
I got to get better about getting stuff out and not overwriting myself.
Hey, that's part of it. When you get locked in, you get locked in. I'm the same way. Desi, how was your week?
It was good. It started off pretty unfortunate, getting sick last week when I was on the show, but it got better.
It got better.
With some footy this week, some
Absolutely.
international footy.
Yeah.
Surprising, a little bit of a break from Prem and the rest, but some international footy was fun to watch.
Yeah, a week ago, it was kind of all in-house, USA, MLS, USL, Long Beach, FC. This week, it was everywhere. We got World Cup qualifiers in Africa, South America, the Nations League in Europe, so it's been a lot of fun to watch. Diego, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to today's episode.
Absolutely. You're bringing back the fedora.
Yes, sir.
I like it. It's a good look. And what year is that kit? I gave you some flowers for that kit.
I think it's 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Probably before that. But, yeah.
Got
two retro here look.
Two Mexico kits in the house today.
That's right, yeah.
Got to represent the best team in CONCACAF.
Well, the man in form is Raul Jimenez. We could talk about that right away. Mexico defeat Panama in the CONCACAF final Gold Cup Nations League. Nations League, not the Gold Cup. Well deserved. Very well deserved. And I believe that's the first time they've won that tournament, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, they get the recognition that they've kind of, in the last 5 years, they've kind of been in USA's shadow, and now is their chance to emerge from that shadow.
And as a fan of El Tri, I just got to say it's about dang time. The 2020s were not a good era for us, but now hopefully we are rising a little bit back to the way that it used to be. So we'll see.
So what do you think changed? Do you think it's just the form of Raul, or do you think everyone else on that team is buying in? Do you think it's the manager?
Well, I think it's the manager, because the fact is, ever since 2014, Mexico has had a foreign manager, and we did have some ups and downs. I mean, we've won a few trophies under these foreign managers, like with Juan Carlos Osorio. I remember Tuca Ferretti. But, I mean, at the end of the day, these managers, well, I mean, for one thing, they didn't even last long. They lasted like about 3 years around each of them. And the thing as well is that when you have a foreign manager as the manager of the national team, when the team loses, you're not getting that much guilt, because at the end of the day, it's not your country. You're just there. I mean, essentially, you're just there for the paycheck. So, after 2020, back when Mexico was like literally at rock bottom, the laughing stock of CONCACAF, I've been begging for a Mexican manager to come in. And I had to wait until 2022, if I'm not mistaken, after the World Cup. Yeah, after the World Cup, when the Tata Martino, former Atlanta United manager, when he was the manager of Mexico, he got sacked after that World Cup fiasco. Terrible performance by the Mexican national team. So the federation brought in Jimmy Lozano, our first Mexican manager since Miguel Herrera back in 2014. I was thrilled about it. Many of the fan base were also thrilled about it. Even though we won the 2023 Gold Cup, that was his first competition. Even though we won it, unfortunately, the team was just not there yet. They were still rusty. They were still struggling, as if they still were not accustomed or getting into the tactics of Jimmy Lozano. It was then that I began to question, well, maybe this guy's just not it. But we still need a Mexican manager. So the federation, they part ways with Jimmy Lozano, and they bring in Javier Aguirre, former Mexican national team from the early 2000s. He's had experience. Not the best experience, to be fair. He was not our best manager, but hey, like Loki said, I consider experience. So, yeah, I feel like this guy, Jimmy Lozano did not exactly create that spark. Javier Aguirre has certainly started it, and you can tell now with the players. Raul Jimenez has been killing it, not because of Jimmy Lozano, but I believe thanks to Javier Aguirre. That guy has truly brought back the spirit and the passion in this Mexican national team.
Talking
Absolutely.
About just Raul really quick, I like the way him and Santi Jimenez play up top. It's hard to play with two strikers. It's really not easy to put two goal-hungry guys up top and say, share the space.
Mm-hmm.
Raul and Santi do it really, really well. And they did it really well against Panama, who refused to break down over 90 minutes. They were still dropping back into the midfield in like the 70th, 80th minute to help build attacks. Usually, I mean, watching Mexico over the last few years, you don't see that cohesiveness, especially with the strikers, especially with Raul, which is like who I just love watching. So it was really cool to see against Panama, who played like a 6-3-1 most of the game, to see the tactics shine through just a bit and eventually force Panama to make mistakes. Mexico doesn't win that game if it goes to penalties, I don't think. But the fact that they forced Panama mentally to just make so many mistakes is because they put constant pressure on them for 90 minutes.
And you know something, JD? Watching that team play on Sunday, it brought a feeling that I really did not feel for a while watching the Mexican national team. Like, I actually had fun watching the team play. I actually enjoyed myself. So, yeah, that was just a great game overall. Great performance from the team. Great tactics from Javier Aguirre. I mean, despite the fact that Panama, like you said, they were not standing down, man. Like, they put up a good fight. They did not make it easy for us. And then, you know what? A curious observation that I would like to share. Panama has been famous over the past few years for being a very physical team, especially in the 2010s. Like, they kept on fouling their opponents left and right. They were super aggressive. I remember I used to be afraid every time Mexico faced them. I'm like, crap, we're facing Panama. Yeah, I used to be afraid. But in that game, it was a reversed. Now, the stats can tell you that Panama actually committed more fouls than Mexico, which I kind of find hard to believe, because I was watching that game from start to finish, and Mexico kept on fouling Panama left and right. I'm like, it's a miracle. I think we didn't even get a single yellow card in that game. I'm like, that's a freaking miracle, dude. But, yeah, that game, so fun to watch. Great performance overall. And, yeah, I just hope that this is not a lucky win. I feel like Mexico now has to prove themselves even further with this summer's Gold Cup.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like, they're trending up. USA are trending down. We'll quickly go over their loss to Canada in the third-place game. Another lackluster performance. And unfortunately for Canada, I don't know if you guys saw, I sent something in the group chat.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies, torn ACL, out for the year, which is just tough for him because he was eyeing up a move from Bayern Munich to a different club over the summer, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's just brutal for him. His agent came out and said that it's a disgrace. Jesse Marsh should be held accountable. But that's beside the point. That was just something that happened in that match. But yeah, I mean, I talked about it last week. Desi wasn't here. You said that we should not be hitting the panic button on Poach and Team USA. Let me ask that question. I asked these two guys. They said we're not hitting the panic button yet. This was before we lost to Canada, of course. So after both of those results, let me ask you, Desi.
Yeah.
Are you hitting the panic button on Poach and Team USA?
I'm not pressing the button, but my finger is approaching the button. I'm getting close to the button.
It's hovering.
Because not only did they didn't really put up a competitive performance throughout this tournament, but I feel like it's getting close now. We're almost a year away from the World Cup, hosting the World Cup, and they're putting in performances like this with a new manager and it being Poached. Like it's just not a good look for them, especially this close to the World Cup, to be just not really a competitive team against teams they should be beating. Nothing against Canada, nothing against Panama, nothing against any of these teams.
Well,
but
sorry, go ahead.
You should not be losing, especially with the hype that they've accumulated over the last few years.
Eli made a very good video over the weekend, which obviously, shout out to him. Give us a little recognition on his Instagram. But, he made a great video saying that the mentality that USA has to be better than these smaller teams like Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, Honduras, even Costa Rica, even though historically they've had very good teams in the World Cup. This mentality that the USA should be beating these lesser opponents is BS, and it needs to be gone. There should be no preconceived notions.
The bar is too high. Yeah,
like they haven't done anything. They think they're on this upper echelon of Western football, and they're not where they say they are. They can talk the talk, but they're not walking the walk. And I feel like Eli made a very good point. Like something needs to change mentally. And I don't know if that's with the players or the coach or the people higher up in the U.S. Soccer Federation.
It's crazy because I think a lot of these players, a lot of these fans, they've deemed this group like the golden generation of American football. Like I don't know if that's the case at the moment, and I don't know if you should be like putting that in the minds of fans and even the players at this point in time. Like they have to prove something first before you can even try to give them this golden generation. Like they haven't won anything. They haven't done really much to earn that title or that kind of vibe around their team.
Yeah, Poch is coming. I think he's treating the United States like he's managing a big club. He's coming in, he said all the big club things. We're going to be the best in the world. We're going to do incredible things at the World Cup. We have a super talented group of players. The United States, though, isn't Chelsea. It's not, Manchester City, where you can come in and say these things and have them immediately be true. I do like that Poch is relentlessly positive about this, and he's not coming in after these performances and being super negative towards the players. One thing I think he needs to figure out, though, not just tactically, is who the leader on this team is who's going to be stepping up and taking the captain's armband. Because we saw a switch between the Panama and Canada game. It went from Christian Pulisic, and then I think Timothy Weah got the captain's armband against Canada. He's trying to figure out his captain a year out from the World Cup, which I think is incredibly important to note, because at this point, so many nations not only have solidified their manager, but they solidified who the leaders on their team are, and then what style they can play. Poch is still figuring it out. So I think it's way too early to panic, but I think the most important thing is once we figure out who our captain is, we can work from there.
I mean, it's got to be Captain America. That's his nickname. That's
really,
quite literally his nickname.
That's what really surprises me, though, about this team, is that so many of these guys are successful away from the national team in Europe, in some of the top clubs, Juventus, AC Milan, for Pulisic. Like, they just can't put it together, and that's what you're talking about with the captain. They need somebody to just kind of take that role. But I feel like they have Captain America to do that. But is he that guy in the locker room, or is he just this kind of figure that you think of as a captain?
I think he definitely has that fire underneath him. There was that video, or it wasn't a video, but there was a photo of him kind of looking around before kickoff of the third place game. And granted, it was horrible scheduling. On opening day, or no, that was a different competition. But middle of the day on a Thursday in LA, horrible scheduling for your own country, for USA to be playing in their home country. You know what I mean? And for him to just kind of look around at SoFi Stadium pre-match and just kind of look at all the empty seats, and you could see there was a kind of sense of being deflated. Like, what are we doing wrong? Like, why are there not? Where are the other 55,000 people? And I feel like he's frustrated, and he's trying to figure out a way to separate his club self, where he's doing really successful at AC Milan, and I feel like he doesn't want to break that spell. He's had 2 really good seasons. I don't know if he's superstition. I am. I played baseball. I'm very superstitious. Whatever he's doing over there, if it's working, and he doesn't want to change it, that's fine by me. But if that's getting in the way of him being able to lead his country and bring up the other players around him, then that's where you start to question if he's got it or not. But I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's needs to learn to be a little more vocal, not just to Poach, but to players around him, and set a standard.
Well, I think I personally have 2 sides to this argument. On one hand, I mean, in the first few matches with the U17 under Pochettino, the team were not that bad. They didn't perform all that bad at all. They were pretty decent. So coming into this tournament, my question is, what happened? I think that is the main question that all of us has. What happened? And I think part of that has to do with the mentality, with the mindset. Now, I know, JD, you mentioned that you don't mind the optimism of Pochettino, but, I mean, coming in saying that we're going to win the World Cup or that we're going to destroy Panama, don't jinx it, bro. Don't pull an Arturo Vidal before Bayern Munich. If you know, you know. Don't do that. You got to set up a set mentality. Do not put up fake expectations or anything, okay? You got to put a more realistic mentality to it. But on the other hand, we also got to remember, Pochettino has literally had less than a year with the U17. He only has 1 year, guys, only 1 year to prepare this team for the World Cup. That's kind of a low space, if you ask me. That low space can't put much pressure. And I would like to share a quote from Josie Altidore, who had this to say after that game. Get behind this U17. It's okay to be frustrated, but stay positive, and let's support this young squad. Onwards and upwards towards the FIFA World Cup in 2026. So, to be honest with you guys, I was actually happy that a former U17 player actually came up and backed up Pochettino, because you got legendary players, former players, and pundits like Landon Donovan and Tim Howard in their soccer podcast pretty much clashing on the team, saying this and that. They're not wrong, but at the same time, guys, let's remember, this Pochettino's barely had less than a year. We should still give him support. He will be here at the wheel. The Federation will not sack him anytime soon. I can guarantee you that. Maybe if the U17 fails in the Gold Cup, maybe then I'll press the panic button. But until then, let's just support him. He still has time. That's really all that he needs right now.
That goes for Clint Dempsey, too. All these guys from the former U.S. men's national team years, all they've done over this last week is just bash on this team.
They're haters.
They're such haters. I've never seen Clint Dempsey be such a hater than what he was after Canada. No, you're going to fail. They're going to fail.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, calm down.
It's like that video I told you about. It's like when he was on the set, I don't know if it was the Golazo show set or whatever, but no, it was on site. They were at a game, I think after they lost to Mexico, and he was just like screaming into the microphone, and Kate Scott's like, Clint, you're yelling. And then obviously it got worse, and yeah, it's a bit of hate watching. I think part of him enjoys it, likes getting those viral clips, and I don't blame him for that.
And Tim Howard and Landon Donovan, they know what they're doing.
Thank God we didn't see Taylor Twellman too.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
All these guys love to say that, like, we had the fight, we were so much better. Brother, you did not qualify for the 2016 World Cup.
2016?
Trinidad and Tobago.
2018 World Cup.
That was the Tobago loss, right?
Yeah.
So please,
you were talking about
please
Panama as like a big rival of Mexico. When you started talking about that, I was like, that's USA's Trinidad and Tobago.
There you go.
Just they can't get through them. Yeah. Anyways, plenty of time to get informed for USA. But, I mean, we said it last week. They have the Gold Cup and a couple of friendlies. That's it, really, to get informed. So, not hitting the panic button yet, but as Desi said, it's hovering.
We're close.
We're about to smash that button.
I think it would all
I still
depend
have
on the
some
Gold
faith,
Cup.
though. I still have some faith in them.
I like
and
it.
Poch.
Yeah. Well, there are 4 teams that have qualified. Well, not including the 3 teams that are going to be there. Canada, USA, Mexico. They're already in. They're hosting. But 4 other teams will be joining them. We said last week Japan was the first team to officially qualify. Right after them, it was New Zealand. And then as of this week's games, Iran and Argentina will be joining them. So Iran and USA played in the last World Cup, I believe, correct?
Same group.
They did.
Yeah.
Same group.
Same group, that's right. And they played, it was a pretty, I don't want to say boring game, but it took a late goal from USA to separate themselves.
Yeah.
Argentina thrashed Brazil. I was at work last night. No, today's Friday. I was at work on Wednesday night, and one of my coworkers, his girlfriend is from Argentina, and he was off that day, so he came in with his girlfriend to have lunch, and I told him, I was like, he doesn't know much about soccer, and he was telling me about his Argentinian girlfriend, and I said, and this, of course, was after, we did our trivia, and the Hand of God goal was on my mind. And I'm like, do you know, has she ever told you about Maradona or the Hand of God? And he had no idea what I was talking about.
Wow.
So I had to run it through him real quick, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm there, I'm meeting his girlfriend, and he was like, oh, this is the guy that told me about the Hand of God. And she just got like so emotional about it. Like it was like such a big deal to her, even though she knows that like they kind of got away with one. And then all of a sudden it just turned into like a Brazil hate week. She was just like, yeah, we beat the what out of them 4-1, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just like generational hate watching for Brazil. It's real. The rivalry between Brazil and Argentina is legit. And I said this to her, and I'm saying all of this because I have a theory, not a theory, but more of a take that obviously Argentina, I think, are still trending up after that World Cup win, whether it's exponentially or just slightly. Brazil are going down, and I think all three of you can agree with that. They're not in form right now. How do you think that affects their performance next year or going into the rest of their games before the World Cup? Do you think that they stay on that downward trend, or do you think they flatten out, or do you think they can turn it around considering all that talent that they have?
I think it's a downward hill from here. I mean, if you ask me, the problem that I look at is the manager. I feel like they got to kind of sack him at this point. Because if he cannot improve this team before the World Cup, then, yeah, that's when all Brazil fans can keep punching on that panic button as fast as possible. Because, yeah, this Brazil team, so much history, prior to this team. Its history precedes them. So, yeah, it's going to be a bad reputation, a bad look for this Brazil team. If they still come in by the end of the year not playing good, then you probably should part ways with the manager, if you ask me.
Brazil definitely should be pushing the panic button, but the real problem for them is that it's a year away from the World Cup, and they don't have a backup plan. They brought in Diego Junior for the sole purpose of qualifying for the World Cup and taking them there. He's managed in Brazil for a long time. Like, he knows Brazilian football. He struggled so much with this Brazil team because they don't play in Brazil, right? These are like top European guys, Vini Jr., Rodrigo, like Real Madrid guys. They've struggled so much through qualifying that I'm saying by the end of this week, he's going to get fired.
End of this week?
End of this week.
Wow.
They're already talking about lining up the replacement for him. The problem is there's really only 3 names that are being thrown out there, and none of them are really the best option. You got Felipe Luis from Flamengo, who's just a young manager starting out. Like, he's starting great at a big club, but you don't want to snatch him away from that, even though he's Brazilian. Again, Brazil gets Brazilian managers. That's the way they like to work. They also got Jorge Jesus, who's working at Al Hilal right now. Al Hilal, one of the best teams in Saudi Arabia. He's like the top Brazilian choice. However, Saudi money and Al Hilal will not let their manager go until after the club.
I was going to say, I guarantee there's like a buyout in his contract.
Plus, he's taking them to the Club World Cup in the United States. It's huge as a manager to go do that and get the stage that FIFA's putting on. So even if Brazil wanted him, they wouldn't get him until after the summer, and they have games coming up in June that they would need him for. And then the name everybody wants Carlo Ancelotti because his contract is running out at Real Madrid. But they're not going to get him because Ancelotti doesn't want to leave Real Madrid. He loves the job there, and he's going to have his contract renewed unless, by some miracle, Brazil can convince him to come. So yeah, they need to change a manager, but who's it going to be? There's really no good options right now, and that's a problem because Brazil they're going to qualify, just because so many teams from CONMEBOL qualify, they will qualify, but they're, like you said, Diego, going straight down.
They're not going to put up a good performance at the World Cup if they continue this way.
They've got 4 games. As you said, they played 2 games in July. They've got 2 more in September. So 4 games, at least on this FOTMOB schedule. They've got Ecuador, Paraguay, Chile, and Bolivia. So obviously all local South American teams they're familiar with. But, only 4 points in their last 3 games against Uruguay, Colombia, and Argentina, which arguably are the 3 best teams outside of them. But still, there's concerns at the managerial standpoint. There's concerns at the front line. Who's going to be their leader? And my biggest question for them is the midfield and the defense. I just feel like it's non-existent. There's nobody in that back line. There's no David Luiz. There's nobody in that midfield to kind of, help out the defense or even kind of facilitate. It's just the front three.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just attacking threat.
They don't lack for talent, but
yeah, not at all.
they don't look like a team that can go deep into a World Cup tournament and beat some top teams. Like you just saw, they lost to Argentina 4-1. I mean, Argentina are stellar, but
the problem, again, harping on the manager a bit, the tactics that they employed against Argentina were the tactics everybody knew they were going to do. The reason Argentina hung 4 goals on them is because Scaloni, the Argentina manager, saw that Brazil had been playing with 2 midfielders for the entirety of qualifying and said, what if I just play with 5 midfielders and just out-press them? Brazil made no adjustments to that. Not at halftime, not before the game. Scaloni literally said, what is the most pressure I can put on this Brazil midfield before they break? And he put all his chips into that basket, and then Argentina delivered.
Yeah, I'm looking at their lineup. They had Julian Alvarez as their striker, which, I mean, he plays there, but he's not a true striker. He's like a false 9, Their 5 midfielders, Thiago Almada, McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, Rodrigo de Paul, and Leandro Paredes. Yeah. All of those are central midfielders. They're spread out on the field, but they're all know how to play in the middle of the park. And so, you pointed that out, that they just suffocated the Brazilian midfield, and they had no answer for it. So I see why you're concerned for them tactically.
And Argentina was just trying stuff in this game, too. They had 5 midfielders who were making, diagonal 40-yard runs just to get open, and Brazil wasn't even tracking them. I mean,
they're just playing with their food.
This could have been 6-1, 7-1 if Argentina would have put away a few more chances, because Brazil were lagged out. They were not pressing with any kind of intensity. It's such a big deal for Brazil because of their pedigree. But at the same time, if this wasn't Brazil, if this was a team in CONMEBOL qualifying who needed a result just like this, if this was Paraguay, it'd be like, oh, of course, they're going to get beat 4-1. Because that's the way they played. They played like they were going to get beat, and then they didn't adjust. And then Rafinha lost his head, too, which was objectively hilarious after all the mess that he talked before the game.
Yeah.
But they embarrassed themselves. It was embarrassing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's transition to some local footy. 3 of us. Well, let's start with Diego. You were at Long Beach FC's 4th win of the season. 4 for 4.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Correct. Wow.
Top of the West.
Yeah.
No, they are top of their division.
Yeah,
correct.
top
Yeah.
of the league.
Are they the only unbeaten team?
I'm not sure about Coachella FC. I don't know if they got their first defeat yet, but if they have, then yes, Long Beach is the only team undefeated. I would have to check the standings, though, for that.
Well, they are in form. You were at their game against the Apple Valley Storm.
Correct.
At Cabrillo High School. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Well, it was a 3-0 clean sheet win. Great performance overall. I mean, really, Apple Valley is lucky that the team did not score more than 3 because they just really dominated this game. They just completely took over. They owned Apple Valley. Scores for this game was Luca Gonzalez. It was a penalty, the first goal. Second goal was Michele Semenzi. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a cross into the box, and then a little tap in from Semenzi right there in the center of the box. The third goal was, I think, Martin Velasquez. Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That guy for me was man of the match personally. I know Charlie Murray won Legends of the Match, so shout out to him for, of course, keeping the clean sheet. Second clean sheet of the season, by the way, for Long Beach FC, and for him as well, for him personally. But for me, my man of the match would have to go for Martin Velasquez because he was just killing it out there. So many tackles, interceptions, great movement of the ball, maintaining possession. He did have a few opportunities, and of course, at the end, he did put his name to the scoreboard. So yeah, overall, great performance from the team. I mean, yeah, Coach Art should be very proud of his team because they're on fire.
Yeah, not only undefeated, but winning these games with clean sheets is so impressive, and really impressive when you have guys to go to off the bench. Like, the balance between Charlie Morton and Alan Solorio is awesome because you have 2 keepers that will give you a clean sheet and incredible saves on any given day.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm trying to pull up the standings, but my phone is not wanting to help me out. They are top, I believe. They might not be the only unbeaten team, but they are unbeaten. 4-0. Their next home game, do you guys know what their next home game is?
April 7th?
Versus 88-30, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. 88-30 should win that game as well, just because 88-30 have had a really rough time so far this season. So we should be looking at 6 if they win this week as
You
well.
mean 5?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
If
You're
they
right.
win this
yeah,
week,
the away,
we
the
should
away
be looking
game,
at 6.
right.
But they play away this week.
Play away this week, and then, yes, April 5th
Fifth.
at Cabrillo High School, 7 p.m. All games are at 7, right? They play
Yeah.
nighttime? Yeah, that makes sense.
Got to make them under the lights.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough away game for Long Beach as well, coming into this weekend versus Coachella FC, second-place team. They're a very strong team. Even the owner, Willie, shout out to him. He was the one who even told us after the game, if we win that game, it will probably be the biggest win of the season so far because Coachella are a very strong team. They will not make it easy for Long Beach. So if we can get the win there, then, hey, this could be our season, guys.
Yeah, Coachella for the last 2 years have made it almost to the national playoffs. They've been the team out of UPSL SoCal, and they've built a winning culture in the Coachella Valley. If we win this game this weekend, we should win the league. It's that big because Coachella's been a thorn in the side of Long Beach. It's so far to travel. Usually the whole team doesn't make it because these guys got commitments outside Long Beach FC. So if the guys that go there can pull off 3 points, we should be set for a very, very exciting summer.
Yeah, it sounds like if they can bring 3 points back to Long Beach, it should set up not only the rest of their season, but, their future.
And further, yeah.
Plenty to keep an eye on. And then we'll quickly go over the USL match that we got to witness. Orange County FC versus Monterey Bay. If you follow us on Instagram, you were able to tune in to some of our live updates, and we posted a photo with Gnarly. He did not have the best night. Neither did any of the fans in orange and black, as it was Monterey Bay who took all 3 points, courtesy of 3 goals, 2 from Elijah Paul and an assist.
Yes.
Man of the match, and I believe he was player of the week in the USL.
Also player of the week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw your I don't know if it was you that said it or if it was Noah, but he was like, Elijah Paul, that is all.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great quote. But
So,
yeah, I mean, heck of a match. Desi, you were there with me. You were just kind of in awe of the atmosphere. And I mean, just tell me what you saw.
Well, I know coming into the game, I was a little unfamiliar with the dynamics of this league and of the teams and of Monterey Bay specifically. And I think I asked Zach at one point, like, what's the matchup here? Who's favored? Like, what's going to happen? And he was like, well, Monterey Bay seems like the underdog. And I think that was the consensus, right?
Yeah,
Before the game.
on paper, they were definitely the underdog. Orange County, their attack had a very good start to the season. So I don't think anybody thought they would get shut out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And I was super surprised to see Monterey Bay they looked such a force on the attack. Just quick to the ball, quick on the counter. They just seemed like they had much more fire in this game.
They had
than
ambition.
OCS.
They knew what to do with the ball,
exactly.
where it looked like Orange County were just kind of searching, waiting for that moment of magic, someone to make a perfect ball, someone to make a run. Whereas Monterey Bay, everyone, like you talked about it with Long Beach FC, how in that game against Laguna, they were just going all at them. And Long Beach was patient. They defended. When they got the ball, they went on the counterattack, and they made them count. That's exactly what Monterey Bay did last Saturday night. And they made them pay. They were the better team on the night. It doesn't matter, all those, pre-match matchups and estimates, whatever, out the window almost immediately. First half was a weird half, in my opinion. I thought both teams could have been on the scoreboard early. And then, obviously, Monterey Bay went ahead first. And then after that red card, it was just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah, tried to take off Adrian Rebelar's head. That was not cool.
Yeah, straight red for Ryan Dogman, who's been one of their better players this season.
You had a good view of that, did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
No, he kicked him fully in the face.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he got him in the
wow.
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see
From
that.
our angle, we were a little bit.
From
far
our
away
angle,
the
it looked
other
like
side.
he obviously got beat. He lost the space, and he made a tackle from behind, didn't get the ball. I didn't see anything near the facial region.
No. So Monterey Bay goes up 1-0, and we're ecstatic,
Yeah.
right? Because we were talking at halftime like 0-0. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because Camposano had to make a few huge saves in the
Oh,
first
he was
half.
incredible.
And we were like 0-0. If we walk out of here 0-0, we're happy, right? Because we're not supposed to win against teams like Orange County, who are supposed to be like playoff, even title contenders this season. We're rebuilding, fully rebuilding. So when Rebelar is at the top of the box, Dogman misses his tack. He gets beat, like you said, he gets beat. Then he just kicks in the air at the ball. Adrian Rebelar is like 5'7", 5'9", He's a shorter forward, like local kid. His parents come to every game. The Rebel R family are great. I mean, his family was there. And he just raises the leg, catches him, I think, just right here, like right outside the eye. And it's like, that's easy straight red. The referee was right there. We were right there. We're like,
No hesitation.
send him off.
Yeah.
And then from there, I mean, Elijah Paul was great. Luke Ivanovic gets his debut goal, which was awesome, or his first goal for Monterey Bay FC. But yeah, that red card shifted a lot of things, and we started to believe that we could win. And then, yeah, I'd say the champ got pretty quiet after that.
It got quiet. It definitely got
It got
quiet. We
really
were
quiet.
over. We weren't in the supporter section. We were kind of in the middle, in between Gnarlyville and the supporting section. But yeah, it definitely got quiet. Especially after the red card, that kind of changed everything. And then it was 2-0, and then it was just like, what are we doing? There were some people leaving.
Yep.
And I forget his name, but he's like one of the local diehard season tickets, always at every Orange County game. He was just like, "What are you doing? This isn't an Angels game." It was good.
That's great. No, also a big shout out to the County Line Coalition for Orange County. Great people. Got to meet a few of them before the game at their tailgate. Just a lot of fun. It's been a long time since, as a Union fan, we felt that we deserved to win and that we were the better team. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, we got to meet your friend Noah.
Yeah.
Very good to meet him. I mean, that I could tell that win meant so much for not just you and him, but like the entire community and fan base.
It's been so rough. It's been really rough as a Monterey Bay FC fan. Noah made the drive all the way down. My mom did too.
Yeah, got to meet your mom.
We had so much fun over those 90 minutes.
It was her birthday too,
It
right?
was her birthday.
What a way to spend your
Yeah.
birthday.
So we were having so much fun, and Noah is like die-hard MBFC, like ride or die. He takes every win and loss like really to heart. Former Footy Fridays guest, Noah Telford. MBFC discussion had like an incredible night. He got to meet so many people, and then we got to say Orange County, like, we'll see you in the summer. Like, we'll see you when you guys come up here.
Road trip? Should we do it?
Question
a
mark?
long
No, I'm
way.
just kidding.
It's a long way.
Hey,
Long
Hey,
I've
it's a-
got
it's
my
a good
girlfriend. My
matchup.
girlfriend, she's got family in Morgan Hill, so
That's pretty close.
that's very close. That's like what, an hour north?
Something like that, yeah.
Not too far.
Really not too far away.
No,
I got some friends in Monterey Bay.
I can make it.
We can do
Go to the aquarium.
trip.
Have you guys been to that aquarium?
No, actually.
It's the greatest aquarium you guys will ever go to.
Cool.
You can attest to that.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
been there. Yeah,
World's greatest.
absolutely.
The world's best.
All right, let's transition into some trivia. We did it last week. We only had 2 guests here. This time we got 3. So
I'm excited for this, man.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Same concept as last week. Most questions are only going to be worth 1 point, but a couple of them you have an opportunity to get a half point if you can guess or get closest to whatever stat or number that I'm looking for.
Okay.
I guess we'll go in order. I don't think I ordered them in a specific way. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
sir.
Question number 1. Which country has participated in every World Cup? There's only one country in the world
Ooh.
that has been to every World Cup.
Do we have a time limit on this, or are we
Just like 15 seconds.
15
Yeah,
seconds.
pretty rapid fire. I want to make sure we have time to do
I think I know the answer.
5-a-side showdown, which is heating up. We'll get to that in a minute, but the boys are cooking once again. All right.
I'm spelling this.
Which country has participated in every World Cup? Uruguay, Argentina. You guys are all close, but wrong. It's Brazil.
Dang it.
What?
I was also thinking about getting
That
Brazil.
felt too obvious.
I thought I
Yeah.
remembered hearing something about.
Uruguay is a good
Uruguay.
guess. They won the first 2 World Cups, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say because they've
Yeah.
been around a long time.
All right.
Brazil felt too clean. That felt like a
It
trap.
felt a little easy, so I figured I'll just throw that out there first, but nobody got that one. So zeros across the board. Question number 2. Which goalkeeper has the most clean sheets in Premier League history?
Oh, man.
And you get a half of a bonus point if you can guess the closest. You don't have to get it right on point, but if you can get within the ballpark, you'll get that half point. Which goalkeeper has the most clean sheets in Premier League history? Start with Diego.
All right, I don't know if I spelled his last name right, but I'm going to go with Peter Cech.
Peter Cech, okay. Diego. Or sorry, Desi.
Edwin van der Sar.
Van der Sar.
Schmeichel.
Schmeichel.
Father.
Diego got it right. It is Peter
Wow.
Cech.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Peter
Nice.
Cech, 202 clean sheets.
Wow.
202. That's
That's
absurd. That's absurd.
Former Gooner.
I should have I should have looked up who was in second and to see that gap because I
Yeah.
feel like there's a pretty large gap.
Wow.
All right.
Peter Cech.
Diego's on the
Okay,
board. He is in
okay.
first with 1 point. Question number 3. Who is the only player to win the Champions League with 3 different clubs?
Oh man, Champions League, 3 different.
Point is for the player, and
Oh,
I'll give you another point.
Oh,
I'll give you a
man.
full point if you can name all 3 clubs. So this one's worth 2 points. 1 for the name, 1 for the 3 clubs that he played for.
Oh man.
Who is the only player in the history of the Champions League to win the competition with 3 different
I
clubs?
feel like I know it.
I'm going to give you 5, 4,
Oh, I don't know it.
3, 2, 1. JD seems like he's ready to answer.
I think it's Samuel Eto'o.
Samuel Eto'o,
Good
and you have
guess.
Inter, Barca, and you couldn't get the third. That's a good guess.
No, we got 2. I swear he has 3.
I don't know. I don't even think this guy played for that many teams. But I put Pep.
Pep, Pep Guardiola. Another good guess. Diego,
I'm just gonna guess with this one. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo,
I know
Clarence
it's incorrect.
Seedorf. Clarence
Ooh, okay.
Seedorf. He won it with Ajax, Real Madrid, and AC Milan.
It's a good guess.
That was.
Wow.
I found that I had to pull that one out of very,
Seedorf.
very deep in the bag to
Deep
find
on
that
the
one.
bench. Okay.
But Clarence Seedorf, one of the greatest, most unsung,
Dutchman.
midfielders of all time.
All right.
So still 1-0.
Yep.
Nothing to Diego. All right. Question number 4: Which country has appeared in 3 World Cup finals but have never won the competition? Which country has appeared in 3 World Cup finals
Never won.
but they've never won? They've been to
Never
the
won?
final 3 separate occasions and they've lost all 3 finals.
That's tough for
Does
them.
this country still exist?
Yes. Yes, they still exist. Hey, that's
What is this? 1990s history?
Oh, some easy teams,
Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, that is not the answer.
See, that's what I was.
That is not the answer. Don't think I just gave it away. All right,
I'm ready.
Diego's ready.
Netherlands.
Netherlands. All right.
I'm writing Netherlands as well.
Okay.
Hungary.
Hungary. Desi said Netherlands,
I
right?
was right,
It is the Netherlands.
Yeah.
1974. Oh, don't leave me hanging. There you go.
My bad.
1974, 1978, and then obviously 2010 when they lost to Spain.
I
And
had
that
Nether
Iniesta
written down
goal.
As you said that, so
Okay.
I was on the same.
And I'm
Same
guessing
wavelength.
in 74 and 78, those had to be the Cruyff and Ruud Gullit years. No, Gullit was in the 80s and 90s, right? Yeah, that was before his time.
Cruyff was in the 70s.
That's right. All right, question number 5. How many games did it take Cristiano Ronaldo to score his first Champions League goal?
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Come on, dude.
This is a hard one, I know.
How many games?
Yeah, you can just
Oh,
throw a number
wow.
out there.
All right.
I
You
feel
can
like-
estimate, and I'll give it to who is the closest.
Sure.
But this one I had some fun finding the answer to.
Another gray guess for me.
I should have saved this one for last now that I'm looking at it, but it's all right.
Change my answer.
It's either really low
or really high.
Yeah.
or really, really
Or way
high.
too
Yeah.
high.
Or yeah. I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna go bold here.
All right. How many how many games did it take Cristiano Ronaldo to score his first Champions League goal? Let's go, JD.
7.
7,
Oh, you went really bold. I went 20.
20,
I went 13.
13. Desi is the closest with 27.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
it took him 27 Champions League games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are Champions League games.
That
Yeah.
feels like it's way too long.
That's a
Yeah,
long
it
time.
was like 4 seasons. It took him 4 seasons,
That
and
is
it finally
crazy.
came. I'm blanking on the year. I really want to say 2007, but it was against Roma. I know it was against Roma for Manchester United. That was his first, 27 games.
Wow.
Nice.
All right,
That's a long time.
final 2 questions. Can I get a score update?
I think I have 2.
2,
I think I have 2 as
2,
well. So we're tied.
0.
0. All right.
Not defending the crown today.
Hey, if you can get both of these right, I think you'll come back and win it. Which 2 countries went to war partially went to war over a soccer match?
Oh, I think I know this one.
This is the football war.
Oh man.
Which 2
I could be
countries
completely
went to
wrong.
war over a soccer match? Partial war. I'll
think
give you
it's-
5 more seconds. Which 2 countries went to war, literally, over a soccer match? Let's go
Getting
with
one of the
Diego.
countries wrong. Dang it. Go for it.
Are you ready, Diego? Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, this one you could take a little bit more time. It's a
Oh,
Can we
man,
get
okay.
a, con-
It
can we
one's
get a
out there.
continental hint?
continental hint.
It's got to be European.
I'll say it's Western.
Western.
Western Europe or Western?
Western.
Hemisphere?
There's Eastern and Western, right? If you guys know the globe, there's the East and the West.
So,
It's in
So
the West.
Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
All right.
okay.
All right. I think I have my guess.
All right, let's go, Diego. I think he's ready.
USA, Colombia.
USA, Colombia. That's actually a very good guess.
I had a guess, but I
Is
lost
it Nicaragua, Guatemala?
Wait,
No,
wait.
but you were very close.
Okay.
Diego's very close. I mean, JD is very close. In
It's-
fact, I might give him a point for that.
It's definitely Central America.
I think I got it.
Desi, I'm going to give you like 3 seconds.
Wait, I'm writing I put Honduras, Guatemala.
You got one of them right, so I'll give you half a point. It was El Salvador and Honduras.
Dang.
El Salvador
I know
and
they were right next to each
Honduras. The football war, also known as the soccer war, was a brief 4-day armed conflict in 1969 between El Salvador and Honduras, sparked by existing tensions and a series of events during the 1970 World Cup qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know,
Launched an attack.
initially I put Serbia and Albania because I know that I don't know if it's Albania, but I know that there's a few teams in Eastern Europe that aren't allowed to play each other in certain matches
that's correct.
because they've had like real conflicts
Right.
in the past. So I thought maybe it was Eastern Europe, but it was the West.
Well,
apparently.
to give context to the audience over my guess, I put USA versus Colombia due to the tragedy that happened in the World Cup '94 in that particular game between
Mhm.
Colombia and the U.S. and the whole cartel stuff. So
Yeah,
that's where my guess came from.
not a bad guess. All right, final question. Another geography one. What country forfeited a World Cup qualifier match after failing to show up? Just didn't show up.
Fully didn't show
World
up.
Cup
What?
qualifier.
Yeah, a World Cup qualifier. What country team forfeited a World Cup qualifier after failing to show up
That's
for the match?
Trying to have some ball knowledge
Which is
there.
pretty,
Yeah.
I mean,
It could literally be
can't be
any
a
match from
big
the World
team.
Cup qualifiers on any tournament of the World Cup. So
It can't be a big team, can it?
there's a needle in a
There's no
haystack.
way a big team wouldn't show up
These
for
feel
that.
like San Marino activities.
not a bad guess at all.
You know, I'm gonna guess. I'm
Oh
gonna
man,
pull this out of nowhere.
I feel like I'm gonna.
This
get
is
hints.
not from this. That was a word soup. This was not from too long ago. This is pretty recent in the scope of world football history.
Interesting.
This is pretty recent. And I say that, and of course I could be
Oh man, I think I know
overestimating.
which one.
All right.
And I
All right.
forgot the country's
One more
name.
time, final question. What country forfeited a World Cup qualifier after failing to show up for the match? JD.
Liechtenstein.
No, that's a very good guess.
I put
It's a-
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar. You guys are all on the right path, and I like it.
Really? Okay, then I could be very wrong with this one.
Okay, what's that? What you got?
Nigeria.
Nigeria?
Oof.
It's Estonia.
Wait,
Oh,
that's a
man.
great guess because they had the flight postponed.
That
So
is
that
true.
was a team. Okay, because
That
that's
is-
exactly the team I was talking
That
about.
is right. That was pretty recently, right? Where they were
Yeah.
going to. I'm blanking on the country.
I forget. I think they were going to Cameroon.
Cameroon.
And they were stranded in the airport. That's why
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
show up.
Something
Was it
like that.
Somalia? I don't know.
No.
Either way, the answer to that question was Estonia.
Interesting.
And one team in Tallinn, which is the capital of Estonia,
Yep.
refers to a football match scheduled for October 9th, 1996. So it was 96.
Okay.
That's pretty recent.
Semi-recently,
Within
yeah.
30 years. World Cup qualifying European Group 4. The match was between Estonia and Scotland. The match was abandoned after 3 seconds because the Estonian team were absent from the stadium due to a dispute over the floodlights.
3 seconds.
Oh
Wait,
my
so they
God.
got dressed and they took the field and just waited.
The
for
referee
them.
blew the whistle and then realized they weren't there, and it was like, actually,
Actually, guys,
we got to cut this game off.
Hold
Wait a
on.
minute. Yeah. And then he said Scotland expected to be awarded with a walkover victory, but FIFA ordered that the match to be replayed on neutral territory.
Oh.
The match was replayed at Stade Louis in Monaco and ended in a goalless draw.
Oh my god.
Well, they
So
gotta-
I
they
don't know
gotta
who.
draw it.
I'm trying to figure out who qualified.
If it's a draw, then
Yeah, I wonder who made it through. I'm guessing
it must have been-
Scotland.
yeah, it must have been a group.
Had to have been Scotland. Either way, I believe. What's our
I
final
had
tally?
2.5. 'cause
Two
of
and a
the half
half?
question.
I think I still have two.
All right, we'll go by the half of a point for throwing a Honduras in there for question number 6. That one goes to Desi.
Mhm.
Congratulations. I believe Diego, you won last week, correct?
No, I think it was Jetty.
I won last
JD won last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
JD last week. Desi this week. Diego's still hunting for his first. You're at top of 5-side standings, okay? You got
I'll
nothing
take
to
that,
complain
dude.
about.
I'll take that over this.
Let's get right into that. Yeah, once again, I'll say it again. You are at the top. Very consistent. I feel like your average score has been like right around 37, 38. You're at the top with 148.4 points. I'm trying to think who you had in the lineup last week.
Napi Leon, Holland.
That's right.
Let me check again.
Forgot about that.
Diego, here we go. You had Holland, Valverde, who had a good game. Pickford put in a very good performance. Pedri, yeah, just all around solid. Nothing let you down too much. I jumped into second with a 37.5 this week. I'm now 4 points behind Diego. Desi dropped to third.
Ugh.
And JD makes up some ground. He's still in fourth, but both of you guys had Desi had a player who just didn't play. Bruno Guimaraes you said he had a yellow.
Yeah,
and he
he
just
had a
didn't
yellow
play.
and
Yeah,
the-
that's unfortunate. You
glove
can't
play.
predict those.
Yeah.
But for JD, I feel for you, man, because I know Kessié played
Full 90.
full 90 minutes, and he
Really?
just didn't get a score. I guess there was no
Dang.
FOT Mob
I
representative at the
I
game.
completely forgot that
For what?
FOTMob
For,
doesn't. They don't do scores for AFCON qualifiers.
But they do for some, because I had a player for Morocco, and he got a score. I mean, it wasn't a good score, but it was he got a 6.6.
Yeah,
Better than
it's-
nothing.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
I think it just depends on the stadium and what they have access to, what they don't. You know, obviously, it sounds like there wasn't a guy from FOT Mob at the match to put in the statistics. Therefore, JD kind of got screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say he puts up a 7 or an 8, you know, you're looking at a 36.5,
A little one.
and you're tied with Desi. You'd be tied with Desi.
Hey, plenty of time to right the wrongs.
Absolutely. Well, let's start with
Plenty of
JD.
time indeed.
But
Since-
for now, BOTW.
JD in
wait,
fourth. We'll start with your week 5 lineup.
All right. In goal, we're going to go to Serie A and Roma, who have enjoyed quite the turnaround under Claudio Ranieri. They are in 7th place right now after they had an abysmal start to the season. They're just 3 points off of top 4. Sorry, 4 points off of top 4 and catching Bologna. They have a big chance to pick up 3 points against Lecce. Against Lecce this weekend, who are the lowest scorers in all of Serie A. I want Roma's goalie, Mile Slavar. He's made every appearance for them just about the season. He's coming off a man of the match performance. I think a clean sheet is in order. In defense, we're going to go to the USL, one of 2 USL guys I got on the lineup this week. Sacramento's Jack Gurr. They're playing FC Tulsa. Jack Gurr's had a great start to the season as well, 7.8 and 7.5 in his first 2 matches. His 4th season in Sacramento, he has given them some great moments over the years. I enjoy watching him just because he's a physical wingback. I think another good performance is in order against Tulsa, who are not expected to compete, kind of like Monterey Bay FC, against good teams like Sacramento. In the midfield, we're going to go to the Netherlands, and we're going to pick an American. Paxton Eriksson has been balling out for Utrecht this season. Utrecht started the season really hot. They had just whispers of a title contention. Those whispers have quieted down. However, they're pushing for their first ever Champions League appearance. They have another good chance to pick up points against Heveningen, I think I'm saying that right, this weekend, who are in 10th place. If Aronson can just put in another good performance, he's averaging over a 7 this season, I can get some solid points. All these players just need to give me points. And then also in the midfield, Washington Spirit are taking on Bay FC in Washington at Audi Field. Their Colombian midfielder, Lacey Santos, who is really talented, just a baller. Got to see her play a little bit a few weeks ago. Has had a great season. Washington lost last week to Kansas City, but everybody loses to Kansas City. Bay FC have a bad habit of shipping goals, and I think this should be a good matchup. Even if Santos doesn't find the score sheet, she can still be influential. And then finally at the forward position, back to the USL, and we're going to go with Greg Hurst, New Mexico's man. He's had a great start. He's scored in both of their first matches. They've got Miami FC this weekend, and Miami, another team coming off a historically bad season. In fact, the worst season in USL Championship history.
Oh.
Looking for a turnaround this year. New Mexico, another title contender, another playoff pusher. Greg Hurst, he's the striker. He's the man up top. Need him to get his 3rd goal of the season, at least.
At
getting
least.
back into contention here.
Hey, man, points are valuable. You'll take them where you can get them. Like I said it. No one's safe.
No one's safe.
No one's
Yeah.
safe.
Nobody
Not even
is
Footy
safe.
Fridays.
Football's unpredictable.
Very unpredictable. All right. Yeah, I was going to go on a tangent. Desi, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, back again with the goalkeepers. I'm also dabbling into the Serie A with a man who goes by the name of David De Gea for Fiorentina.
Ooh.
He's actually having a really stellar year for Fiorentina. He's had some good performances, including an 8.6 3 matches ago on March 9th against Napoli. So he's been having a good year. Hoping for a good matchup. I believe they play Atalanta this week, who I think take a lot of shots. So he should be in a good position to put up some points. Moving into the defense, I have kind of an underrated center back. I feel like nobody's really talking about this guy, Inigo Martinez for Barcelona. He's averaging 7.43 on FOTMob this year. He's put up a stellar amount of games in the last 7 and 8 games or so. Nothing below a 7 on FOTMob. So he's a good player to have in this week. I believe they play Girona.
Mm-hmm.
And then my midfield consists of a 19-year-old Dane who plays in the Danish Superliga. Goes by the name of Noah Narty. Plays for Brøndby.
It's a good name.
It is a good name. He is absolutely tearing it up. 19 years old. He's averaging a 7.4 on FOTMob this year with an absolutely stellar run of games, including an 8.9 and an 8.6. And again, he's just 19 years old. He's a center midfielder. He can also get up top a little bit and score some goals. He's got 1 goal in the year, 3 assists. He's been stellar. 19 years old. Slotting in the midfield for me. Rounding out the midfield is a guy we talked about a lot last year, me and Zach. Kind of trying to find his form for Chelsea, Moises Caicedo. He has been on a tear recently, putting in some good performances, and I think Chelsea play, unfortunately, they play Tottenham this coming Thursday.
There we go.
So it'll be a little bit of a bittersweet game, but he's going to put in a good performance for Chelsea. And then rounding out is another guy we talked about a lot last year, Juan Bruneta for Tigres. He was a guy that I feel like we had him a lot in starting 11 last year. And he's been on a tear in the Liga MX as well, including his last 2 performances, 9.2 and a 9.0. They play America this week, so it'll be a tough matchup for them. But that rounds out my 5-a-side. David De Gea, Inigo Martinez, Noah Narty, Moises Caicedo, and Juan Bruneta.
All right. I saw Fabrizio post today something about Inigo Martinez. Did you guys see this? Osasuna announced a complaint against Barcelona for improper lineup. The club understands Inigo Martinez's participation in the match violates FIFA regulations. I don't think he's going to get suspended for it, but I just think it's funny that Fabrizio posted this morning, and now he's
in my lineup.
Now he's in your lineup.
Oh,
so I like that. Yeah, Desi's trying to get back in the 30s, trying to retake his possession of second place in the table. This is the first time. I'm just going to go right out there and say it. This is the first time this has happened in the 5-a-side showdown because we don't reveal our lineups to each other.
Oh,
we have the same player.
Oh boy.
So it's,
wow.
This is where this is good. This is good. Do we both keep the same player? Because we have 4 other different players. Obviously, one player isn't going to tie our scores completely. They're not going to be the exact same score. Should we be okay with that we each have the same guy, or should one of us have to find a new player? I'm asking JD and Diego. What's the most fair outcome here?
I kind of see that you should probably search for another one.
Yeah.
Search for another one. Who should search for another one?
Rock, paper, scissors. You got to figure out who keeps it.
Because I have Juan Bruneta. I also have Juan Bruneta.
Okay. Well, the thing is, I had a few options this week, so
Okay.
I can also change mine if you need be.
Well, I can switch mine to another Mexican defender that I thought about and go with Chiquito for America.
Okay. So then you find a new striker or a new forward.
Or just do rock, paper, scissors. And
Is he a forward or a midfielder?
Juan Bruneta?
Yeah.
I have him as a forward, but he also, I think.
He's an attacking
he plays
midfielder.
attacking midfielder.
I have him as a midfielder.
You're listening to
I'll take
22
Chiquito.
West Radio.
I'll switch it up.
You
can keep Juan Bruneta. You said him first.
All right, fair enough.
So I'll take on Chiquito.
Long Beach, Los Angeles, and 22 West
I was high on him when he was at Pachuca, but now he's at Club America. He's kind of carved out a role for himself in that midfield.
Yes, sir.
America is America. They're going to be one of the, any given night. They're going to have an opportunity to win.
Exactly.
So I like his chances. Let's go back to goalie. Well, no, let's go with my other midfielder first. So Chiquito in midfield. Joining him is going to be Isco from Real Betis. We talk about Anthony all the time. Somebody's got to assist him, right? Anthony can't be scoring goals if Isco's not providing him.
I'm pretty sure I had Isco at least 2 weeks ago.
I almost had
Yeah.
Isco this week. So
He's got 4 man of the matches in his last 6 games.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's in form. Obviously, I don't think he's been playing for Spain. He's been retired from international competition for a while, so he's rested.
Yeah.
He's going to come back
Ready
to
to
Real
go.
Betis. They take on
Sevilla.
Yes. So give me Isco, Chiquito. In defense, give me somebody who's going to be playing for Spurs hopefully soon, Luka Vuskovic.
Ooh, yes.
Young guy.
Yes.
He's on loan in Belgium for Westerlo. They're taking on FCV Dender. not too familiar with the competition there, but I know that Luka Vuskovic, he plays defense, but he's got goal scoring capabilities, putting up right around a 7.5 on the season. I like those numbers. In goal, I'm going to go back to England, but I'm going to go to the third tier. Give me Ryan Alsop for Birmingham City. They're at the top of League One. They're going to get promoted. They're going to the championship. And Ryan Alsop, their starting keeper, is a big reason why. Man of the match on March 1st. Since then, 7.3, 7.4, 7.4. Very consistent. Birmingham City are taking on Shrewsbury, who I believe are at the bottom of the table. So give me Ryan Alsop. And up front for Lyon, attacking midfielder / winger Ryan Cherki.
Yeah.
The 21-year-old Frenchman, he's been in form. He's got 6 assists and a goal in his last 5 matches. So I really like his chances to either get an assist or a goal. He'll be involved no matter what. So Ryan Cherki, Isco, Chiquito, Luka Vuskovic, and Ryan Alsop.
Nice.
All right. And Diego, let's wrap it up.
All right, let's start with the goalkeeper. To a similar league that I tend to go often, to Liga Profesional of Argentina. Give me the River Plate goalkeeper, Franco Armani. He's been a very consistent goalkeeper for River Plate, 7.5 average rating on FootMob. And River Plate will be facing Rosario Central this weekend, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. River Plate, as on their part, I mean, they've been undefeated for the last 4 games, and they've kept 4 clean sheets in those 4 games. So, yeah, talk about a giant between the sticks. Franco Armani has been getting it done. So hopefully he does not fail me this weekend for tomorrow. In the defense, I'm going to go with Eric Dyer with Bayern Munich.
I like that pick.
There you go.
There you
Former Spurs player. There you go. I'm
Little
not a
Spurs
hater.
pick.
Okay, I'm not a hater. I'm not that much of a hater. He's been a very consistent center back for Bayern, 7.2 average rating on FootMob. And Bayern are facing St. Pauli, who are, I believe, third to last place in the current standings in the Bundesliga. So, in theory, should be a quote-unquote relatively easy win, because that's just the one thing that's my pet peeve in the Bundesliga. It's so unpredictable. Any big giant can lose on any given day. So, Bayern better not lose against St. Pauli, all right? Going to the midfield, I'm also going to pick a fellow Club Americanista player. Give me Alvaro Fidalgo, a player that I've mentioned several times before back when we used to do a starting 11. I'm bringing him back again for my five-a-side for the first time in the five-a-side showdown. One of the best playmakers that America has had over the past few seasons. This guy has been on fire. Center attacking midfielder, but he knows how to score goals. He knows how to contribute. And hey, America is facing a tough opponent this weekend versus Tigres. It's going to be a tough one, but I do believe that Andre Jardín will prepare his attack for this game. It's going to be a good one. I'm going to be watching it. I highly suggest you guys to watch it because it's going to be a big one. So yeah, hopefully Fidalgo can contribute to Los Águilas. And for my second midfielder, I'm going to go with I think it's my turn to choose the golden boy. I know one of you guys already chose him, Lamine Yamal.
Oh,
I'm going to go with the golden boy himself. We talked about him several times, so there's no point on me getting too much into it. 8.05 average rating on FootMob. That should tell you everything. And Barca are facing Girona on Sunday, so it should be a good one. And hey, Barca are on a winning streak, so hopefully they can continue that this weekend. And finally, another player in Liga MX. Give me Herman Bertrame from CF Monterrey. Wrong team. But yeah, top goal scorer, literally, for Monterrey. And, very consistent. 7.45 average rating on FootMob. And Monterrey will be facing Tijuana. Tijuana are literally in dead last. So, in theory, again, quote-unquote, should be a relatively easy win for Monterrey. So, there you go, guys.
All right. The competition is heating up. Diego, Zach, Desi, and JD. That is the order of the five-a-side showdown table. It's very unpredictable. We never know what's going to happen. Tune in next week, find out how each of us do. We'll have more trivia. We'll have more conversations. Premier League's back. We'll have some results for the FA Cup, which we didn't even get into this weekend. There's just so much. Footy's back. Yeah. I mean, we've had some stuff to talk about, but now we're getting back into the meat and bones of the season. Thank you for tuning in today on YouTube. If you're listening on the radio, thank you once again. If you're listening in the future on Spotify, thank you for tuning in. Follow us on Footy Fridays and tune in at 22 West Sports for the 22 West Sports block. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
You're listening to 22 West Radio.